Hello, I hope that you are doing great. In this video we are going to conclude the videos in chapter 9, in which basically we have created databases. And in this particular video what we are going to do is to introduce some changes in our files to allow the user to register in the web page, and then once this user registers, that information is going to be recorded in the database. And we are also going to learn how to introduce basic queries and disclose that information in the database, in the web page of the course. Okay, then let's move on. As in the previous video, the first thing that you have to do is to download the boilerplate number 5, and then you have to create a virtual environment, activate it, and you have to install the requirements. And this is basically what you are doing here. I'm not going to do this because I have already done myself. Then you have to do this by yourself, and that's all. Then we can start to work. The first thing that we have to do is basically here in the init file we are going to encrypt our passwords, and to do that we have to install a different package that is /bcrypt that you have already installed it through the requirements. And basically we have to import that package, and we also have to define it. This is something that we have done here in the bcrypt application. Okay, this is the first two things that we have to do in the init file. And now we have to move to the user package, go to the init.py file, go to the users and go to the routes. And this is basically what we have here, the routes in the user package. And now we have to introduce some changes here to record the information from the models, from the forms basically. And then the first thing that we have to do is from the folder cap import DB and also bcrypt. Okay, that is for encrypting the passwords. And now we have to go to the register route, and here basically what we have to do is below, when we submit the form, now we have to do some more things basically to record this form. I'm going to do the right indentation here. Then basically now what we have to do is user has set password is basically we are going to use bcrypt generate password hash. And here basically we are going to take the data from the form password data, and we are going to decode UTF-8. Basically what we are going to do here is that when the user clicking the button of the submit form in the form, we are going to create this user has it form that is basically is going to take the data that we introduce in the password that we have introduced, and it's going to encrypt it. This is basically what we are doing there. And now basically what we have to do is, as you remember in the previous video, we are going to create a user, and we are going to use the user class, and basically here we are going to have a username, and basically what we are going to do is to take the data from the form. This is going to be form, and we are going to have the username, this field, and we are going to have the data from there. Then we are going to do exactly the same for the email. The email is going to be equal, we are going to take the data from the form, the email, and data. And finally we are going to use the password, but the password is going to have from the user has set password. Okay, this is basically the fields that we are going to introduce in our database. And as you remember, when we have to do next is DB session. We have to add this user and we have to commit DB session commit. That's all. It's basically what we have done before in the command lines. We are now doing these 4 lines here, and basically when the user click a button, submit the form, we take that information from the form and we add it to our database. That's all. This is the 4 lines that we have to modify in this particular folder, in this particular file. Now what we are going to do is to make some queries, and we are going to do exactly the same. We go to the home package and open the routes file, and this root file now is basically this one. And then, as in the previous video, in the previous root, basically what we have to do is to import the user and the transport classes to use it in this particular root. And then it's basically from cap models, we need to import the user and the transport classes, and then we can start to use it. And here basically inside this root, what we are going to do is what we did before in the terminal. Then is, for example, we are going to create a new variable that is going to be user query first username, for example. This is a query that we have done before. Then you should be super familiar with this right now. Then we are going to create another variable that is transport 1 equal to transport query first kilometers. This is also another query that we have already used it. Now we define user free. It's another variable. It's going to be user query filter by username equal to Bjork. And we close this and type first username. Okay, again, this is something that we have already done. Then user free. That's all. Now we are going to create a new query that is transports, and basically transport query filter by user ID okay, then I need to define another user 4 is equal to user query filter by user name equal to Bjork first. Okay, now basically user ID is going to be equal to user for ID, and now basically that's all for this query. And also users is going to be user query all. And now what we want is to disclose all this information in our database, in our web page, and therefore, as we have done previously as well with the titles and other variables that we have created. We have to pass this to the HTML files. User1 equal to user1, transport1 equal to transport1, user3 equal to user3, and we have also transports equal to transports, and users equal to users. Okay, we save this, and now we go to the home HTML web page, and here I have created different queries, and then in the query, in the first query, basically what we are going to disclose, we have done this again many times. This is user1. In the query number 2, what we are going to disclose is transport1. In the query 3, what we are going to disclose is user3. And in the query 4, what we are going to do is to create a loop. It's basically we are going to loop a for loop for transport in transports, we have to disclose the information transport kilometers, and we have basically to finish the loop, to conclude the loop, is equal to N4. We save this, and we can copy and do basically the same thing. Yeah, in the last query we are going to do basically the same thing. Then we can go here, paste this information, and instead of transport is going to be user. Here is users, here is user, and we are going to disclose the username. Control save. Now we go to terminal, new terminal, and we type Python application.py. We click enter. Now we open our terminal. We have a mistake somewhere. I would like to check it. Okay, we have to create a table. It's important. Yeah. Then basically before to do this, Control C, clear. Then basically we have to create a table, and to do that is I'm going to use this as in the previous chapter. I have created this create data.py, and then basically you have to type Python create data.py. You click enter, and then we have create here our transport and our user DB database. And now if we open this, now it's all work. Okay, now we open this. We make a problem here in the transport. It's, we make a mistake somewhere in the transport. Okay, I make a typo in the routes home here. Control S, and Now I refresh the web page. Now we have it, okay? This is very nice. We have all the queries and all the information that we need, and I think that user, here I make another typo. Users, and then if I refresh now, okay, now this is correct. We are going to do something. We're going to the register web page, and here I'm going to create another, for example, I'm going to create my name, Mario, and here I type Mario demo, and I create, for example, introduce a password, and I sign. When I sign, this is super nice because now we have this Mario here as we have introduced another. You go here, we have created this. And this is super nice because basically what we are doing is populating our database. If I go here to open database and I go to the boilerplate number 5, I open this database and I go here and I go to the user. We have the data that we have created before, and now on top of that we also have the password, and if you can see here you have the password that is encrypted. We're going to introduce a new user that is, for example, if I go here to register, I introduce another one that is going to be fire. I like this name, fuego in Spanish. Fuego is fire in English. And then I create this, and I create a password, and I create this, and I sign it. Now we have created a new one that is appearing here, Fuego, and this is very nice. If we go to here and we refresh the web page, we are populating basically our database, and this is super nice because basically now what we have done is to connect our forms with the database, and this is super great. Okay, we have concluded this chapter 9, in which basically we have started creating a database, and we have concluded in introducing, connecting these databases with our project, and populating these databases directly from our forms. We are going to continue later on adding more structure to our web page and populating these databases with kilometers and all these things, okay? Hope that you have enjoyed and you have learned. See you in the next video.